Hello, I'm Chris Williams, and today we're going to be reviewing Batman Detective Comics 1004. We'll start off with the cover. The cover is good. Yeah. The cover was by Hennessy and Fairbairn. It shows the Arkham Knight, at least the DC Universe version of Arkham Knight, not the one from the Arkham games, having her, yes, it's a her, stand out in front of Arkham Asylum, releasing all of the inmates. And you can see the inmates behind her as they rush out, with Batman tied up in the gate itself, struggling to free himself and to stop the madness. The cover says Arkham Breakout. I've read the issue, and there's not really a breakout in it all that much. It mostly just seems to be leading up to something the Arkham Knight is going to do. Here we have the first page with Batman talking to Jeremiah Arkham about the identity of the Arkham Knight. The Arkham Knight's identity being that it's his daughter Astrid Arkham. Apparently, he had been treating her for years, and part of that treatment had been to try and raise her within Arkham Asylum, trying to keep her away from the inmates. He explains all this, and Batman and Robin end up finding a scroll that Astrid had written her history on. She'd been basically starting out as a child with crayons, but had moved on as she had gotten older to more advanced drawing techniques. Jeremiah says he thought he had burned it, but apparently Astrid had saved it, and in this scroll tells how she had grown up in the Arkham Asylum. Jeremiah tells him about his wife, who he had met in the asylum years ago, and that when he met her, his meeting with her had filled him with a great sense of hope and had reinvigorated his will to try and help the patients of Arkham Asylum. Here we can see her treating the Joker and Two-Face. He goes on to say that she developed a great relationship with all of the inmates. Here we can see him spying on her on the monitor. Well, not so much spying on her as he was watching her to make sure the inmates didn't hurt her or kill her. Here we can see that the Penguin is actually smiling at her. As he says, she had gotten along famously well with all of the inmates. They had actually liked her. And even though he knew that, he continued to watch over her, hoping that, well, he still knew they were all hardened criminals. Well, hardened psychopaths or psychotics. Not so much psychopaths, just a bunch of crazy people who do harm and maim and kill people. Here he eventually asks her to marry him, and she says yes, and they're happy. Harley Quinn sings a song in the background saying Jeremiah and his wife sitting in a tree, and that goes on. And this goes on until even when she's pregnant, when he tells her that she should leave for maternity leave, and she says she won't do that until after the baby is delivered. But lo and behold, during the final days of her pregnancy, a riot breaks out in Arkham, and she fearfully runs away from the violence. And she runs deeper into the asylum while the inmates are killing each other. Well, what happens is that Jeremiah, he leads a team of security guards deep into the riot to try and save his wife. And I have to say, this is a good story. I'm really enjoying it by the Peter J. Tomasi. His writing is really good here. And the artist Brad Walker, I'm enjoying his art. I've seen better art, but this is really good art, I have to say. So, Jeremiah leads his team in there, fighting through the inmates, fighting through literal supervillains. Well, not all, okay, some of them are like the Riddler, just regular people with gimmicks, but there's still Solomon Grundy there. And Jeremiah hears Solomon Grundy yelling, as well as the yelling of his own wife as she's suddenly gone into labor from all of the pressure the riot has put her under. And all he can do is freak out and continue to bash his way through the inmates looking for her. And Solomon Grundy keeps wailing on the inmates if they get too close to him. Well, it turns out Jeremiah soon hears another voice, the voice of a screaming child, and he finds something inexplicable as he sees the Joker delivering his own daughter Astrid. And he sees Harley Quinn smiling almost godmotherly over his wife. Apparently all the major Batman villains had liked his wife so much that they decided to protect her and help her deliver the child. You can see them here, Poison Ivy wrapping the baby in swaddling clothes. Well, I guess swaddling prison uniform, or Arkham uniform at least, while Clayface tries and protects her. Well, Two-Face looks on while the Joker and Harley Quinn are squealing like little girls? Alright, fine. The artwork is good, and I'm really enjoying here. Peter J. Tomasi's writing is very good. And the mother continues to look happily at her friends, thinking that this is the happiest day of her life, when suddenly something happens. A batarang comes cutting through Clayface's wall of clay he had erected to try and protect her, cutting into her carotid artery, ending her life. And this is how this ends. Jeremiah's life is now destroyed because one of the patients had gotten a hold of a couple of spare batarangs that Batman had been using to try and quell the riot. And he had used them and he had killed her. Solomon Grundy ends up killing the inmate for what he just did. And we can see Jeremiah holding Astrid over the dead body of his wife, while Joker and the other rogues, with their shoulders sagged, have just gone and failed Astrid. That's a really good scene there. It might also show that the villains might end up trying to be good once in a while, but a lot of the times when they try to be good, it ends in failure, meaning that they would just continue to be villains, because maybe they see it as, at least if they kill people, it's by their own hands, instead of just having to watch someone they actually care for die. Here we can see Astrid being raised partially by the inmates as she goes sneaking around Arkham Asylum because her father refused to raise her anywhere else. She ends up having stories told to her by the Joker. She also witnesses lots of violence done by the inmates and onto the inmates by Batman. She ends up seeing Batman beat up Two-Face. She sees it through one of the many cracks and secret passageways of Arkham Asylum. And this really shows that she was pretty much scarred from birth and destined to become a villain, someone like the Arkham Knight, because she just continued to witness all of the violence being done at Arkham Asylum. And she continues to manage to find new passageways through Arkham Asylum, seeing treasures and all the secrets of Arkham Asylum. And she also continues to end up spying on Batman, who she has come to somewhat loathe because he ends up continuously beating up her friends, who she sees as family. And you can see this is pretty much says right from the start that she would just grow up to be a villain. She finds friends in the Arkham Asylum that help train her because she wants to go up against Batman, and she refuses to listen to her father to be told to stay away from the criminals, from the patients at Arkham Asylum. And you see her face all in shadow, and she's angry. You can see her practicing against Clayface, giving her lessons on how to use a sword, or at least help her like that. She gets other lessons on how to fight and how to handle herself in fights. After all of this, and after this time, she's finally managed to enact her plan. She's become the Arkham Knight to try and wrestle all of Gotham City away from Batman's grip, because she sees him as a criminal. Mainly because she doesn't know this, but Batman had nothing to do with her mother's death. It was another one of the inmates who killed her when he took one of the spare batarangs and slit her mother's throat. Here we end the issue with Astrid, the new Arkham Knight, about to fight Batman and Robin. And then I have to say, this has been a good issue. I really enjoyed it. It might have been a little stupid with the fact that Harley Quinn has apparently maybe around in her 40s, because I don't really believe she's that old. Joker, possibly, because his face is all messed up and cruddy looking. Now, the same goes for Poison Ivy as well. There's no way Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn are in their 40s. I hope not. But I can believe that of Joker or Clayface and the other characters, maybe even Two-Face. I mean, he could be in his 40s. He looks old enough to be like that. And I have to say, this was a really good issue, and I would enjoy anyone else reading it too, to enjoy it as well as I have. And I have to say this: if you like this review, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you've been watching my videos but you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to me. I want you to hit that bell so you get notifications on all my future videos. And also, I want you to hit that like button and leave some comments down below. Now, keep checking back in future videos for more information on my own upcoming independent comic book, Scumdogs. Now, I won't say it's better than this comic book, because this was a good comic book, but my comic will be just a good comic book you can read and enjoy. I'm Chris Williams, and this review is done for the day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another review. Bye.